Hello, good morning everyone. So today we're here with me. I have Ainur
Hello, I know here.
and I'm Zaim. So what we're going to do for today is we're going to do have a Merdeka podcast. So since our Merdeka celebration is very much near, I think it's more like 3 or 4 days akan datang ni.
Yeah.
So we believe that we are in the spirit of celebrating Merdeka
Woo, Merdeka.
for the 66 years,
Yes,
66 tahun
66,
kita telah
66.
merdeka.
Yep.
So today we're going to have a podcast and where we will be talking about podcasting as a Gen Z.
Yeah,
And
Gen Z celebrating Merdeka in 2023.
Gen
Yeah.
Z, you are Gen Z, is it?
I was born in 1998. So basically I'm 25.
Uh-huh.
So I am in the Gen Z punya generation. What about you?
I would consider myself as Gen Z myself. Although I would consider myself also as a 23rd, 24th this year.
I think you're quite young.
Mhm.
Okay, so both of us were born in the 1990s era. So let me just do a quick Google search, okay, what Gen Z means, okay. Sebab I know that there are, the millennials,
Yep.
then there's the boomers, and then the Gen Z, and before that we have Gen Y, and then
The
Gen
whole
X.
alphabet lah, basically.
Basically, yeah, and then we have the younger generation, which is the Alpha generation. Okay, so let me just do a quick Google search and okay, so basically dekat sini it says that Gen Zs are the one yang born in 1997 to 2012. So basically it makes the both of us.
Yep.
Okay, 1998 and 1999.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
both of us are in the Gen Zs. Okay, so I said just now, kenapa kita guna the perspective of Gen Z? Sebab I think we are quite macam towards the era yang bawah-bawah, and then we have the older one kan, we have the millennials, we have the boomers, the Gen X, the Gen Y. So I think the definition of merdeka to these people is very much different to the one that kita rasa, our generation rasa, okay, the significance of merdeka. So I think let's talk about how we feel about merdeka this year.
Like it's very different.
Yeah.
So why not we just get on started?
Yeah, all right. Coming back to our topic for today.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zain, being Gen Z dekat Malaysia ni, I think the most important question when it comes to Merdeka would be, what is Merdeka to you as a Malaysian, but in the Gen Z context? Like, how do you celebrate or enjoy Merdeka?
I think throughout my lives, I think being a Malaysian, it's a must thing to do at least once in your life for you to just go and celebrate a parade at the Dataran Merdeka, also known as the Bangunan Sultan Abdul Samad, right?
Dekat situ, kat KL.
So
yes.
usually like my family back in during my like early years of 10, I think like
Your
almost
childhood.
10, 11 like that. Like my dad would bring for nasi lemak at the Jalan Baru.
Okay.
And then we would just go for air shows at the Padang Merdeka, and we would stand there I think as early as 7:30 a.m. up until 1 p.m. and even there we would just be there and just enjoy the moment, because my dad used to told me that you need to be here although you don't really face the hardship before, but you need to see these sacrifices that these armed forces do for us, right? So as a Gen Z, I believe that I'm trying to inculcate that sense of belongingness when going for some might say a yearly thing. But in the end, it's just like something for me to appreciate and understanding where these hardships come from through my grandparents and whatnot, right? So Merdeka to me, it feels like not just a 1 day thing, but it's just a day that where we all bring ourselves together, regardless of race, culture. And the most important part is when Merdeka is where we can just unite as a Malaysian.
Faham?
How about you? I know, like I
me,
think you might have a more interesting experience than me.
well, we're just 1 year beza, okay. But basically I think Merdeka for me, sebab I wouldn't say that the significance of Merdeka to me would be understanding independence, sebab I wasn't born in that generation.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't born in that era. So whenever I heard boomers or maybe even the older generation than the boomers, my grandparents' generation, you know, when they talk about independence, when they talk about not apa tu, jangan tunduk tu penjajah lah, whatever. It feels weird to me because I wasn't born in that generation. So to me, kalau when we speak of Merdeka, my main motivation of feeling Merdeka tu when it comes to the unity of races. Okay, because I was raised and born in Bukit Mentajam, Pulau Pinang. Okay, and I went to convent school throughout my whole life since primary sampai last sekolah menengah. I went to convent for 11 years. So basically, my friends are Indians and Chinese, and it's very diverse. Okay, so after I move out from convent, I see that racial issues is a thing actually dekat luar sana. So it was a little bit delulu for me because I never thought that racial thing is a thing. When I
Still
go,
exists, right?
yes, still exists. Sebab when I was in convent, we live together in harmony macam tu kan. So we actually eat together. We even share our bekal. We eat from the same bekal, and then we even sit together. We talk about things. We were literally friends tau. And so when it's Merdeka, I feel the spirit of being friends with people from another race, understanding how other cultures are. Contohnya macam being friends with your friends yang Indian friends, Chinese friends, Sabahan, Sarawakian. They all have different cultures kan. So when it comes to Merdeka, it's like uniting all of us in that same place and understanding that all of us love nasi lemak roti canai and teh tarik. Yes. So
Every
one
single
thing that bring us together kan. And then like macam tadi you mention pergi parade kan dekat KL. So where are you from actually?
I'm from Nilan, Negeri Sembilan.
I see. So you were born in the southern
Yup.
part of Malaysia,
It's quite close to
while
KL.
me, I was born in northern part of Malaysia, and as opposed to you, I tak pernah pergi parade. Merdeka Parade. I've never been to any national parade before kat KL ke, especially yang depan KL lah, dekat Dataran
Dataran
Merdeka
Merdeka.
tu. Always tengok kat TV je, live dekat RTM, dekat TV3, and always macam excited lah. Pagi-pagi pukul 8 tu dah tunggu berita nak tengok live kan. My parents akan macam, jom tengok parade kan. And then like if ada kesempatan, we will go to the one yang dekat Penang tu. Like it's a smaller scale lah compared to the one in KL. But then to say that I've never actually been to the national punya parade, but I do feel the spirit tu kalau tengok daripada live kan. And then yang macam you cakap tadi, TUDM fly everywhere kan. I always look forward to the air shows kan. Diorang buat macam performance tu. And then the marching bands. And I think throughout my high school life, not high school but sekolah lah, I think I've been to a few parades yang ada marching bands. Yeah, so macam dia macam bagi semangat when you listen to all those macam national anthems kan.
You
Lepas
feel
tu lagu
spirited, right?
Merdeka.
Yeah.
And then people in costume, beragam semua tu. I miss those days, okay? Sebab when you're adults now that you are working, you no longer get to celebrate macam tu dah anymore.
You see like Merdeka in a different perspective, I would say.
Correct, yeah. Sebab dulu kalau my parents, kalau time Merdeka, they will keep on talking about, we have to remember that this is independence. But to me, independence tu macam tak significant because I wasn't born in generation kita kena lawan dengan penjajah kan.
Physically and everything.
So I think our generation kita lebih appreciate harmony kot. Kita lebih appreciate being able to live together in a nation kan. So other than that, how do you celebrate Merdeka? Like kalau tak pergi parade tu?
I think like there's a culture back in my hometown tau where not only time Merdeka where we would just do a get together gathering, kita makan sama-sama, we cook together.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
let's say like
That's nice.
there's a wedding or there's a culture event, we would just like we'll just delegate our tasks and like at the end of the day we'll just sit down together and we just discuss and we just have a good laugh lah at the end of the day. Because I think like for me personally, we are supposed to be moving towards a nation that recognized as a Malaysian first, rather than putting our races or cultures first. Because that is where, by acknowledging that we are Malaysians, we can able to unite and have that mindset of to be a progressive country, right? But before we reaching all of that, we have to acknowledge that Merdeka is a good stepping point yang mana we have to go through these significant events, like you said, like being a Gen Z in the during your very very small child, and now working as a good adult, right?
Yeah.
So I think moving towards that, we have to go through what are the differences that you might face being a celebrate as a Merdeka back in those days and right now.
I feel the significant difference lah between the my childhood, and now that I'm an adult kan. So macam bila dah jadi adult ni, Merdeka tu jadi macam kurang celebrated. I think because of work lah, definitely.
Okay.
We don't really have time to join all those marching bands ke apa ke. So we were not really in that spirit of celebrating independence. Tapi macam kalau kecil-kecil dulu, memang it's a thing. Like every year, every year it's a school yearly event. So like regardless you nak ke tak, memang you can
perhimpunan semua kan, bangun,
you will
nyanyi.
eventually join juga. So menyanyi national anthem, pakai yang beragam, pergi marching and whatnot. But then when like now when I'm 25, I think like macam this year, since it has been quite some time lah, I graduated last year. So before I graduated pun dekat my former university pun, we did celebrate Merdeka juga, but it's just a smaller scale lah. So now that I'm working, I think the nearest thing that I can do to celebrate Merdeka is to join macam NGO, pergi beach clean up ke apa ke. It's just the spirit of Merdeka, you know, just to do something, join campaigns. Macam baru ni I nampak online orang cakap, okay, let's do a beach clean up for Merdeka. Or just join like this teh tarik video where you just show like how you enjoy your teh tarik, or maybe how you enjoy your apa tu, national food lah, whatever makanan Malaysia, and then like show how it's done. So macam I see a lot of people actually reacting to that post, that campaign, and it comes from different kinds of races lah. So they have Indians, Chinese, the Malays enjoying their food, you know. So for me, I rasa macam, oh, that's nice, because we finally can sit down lepas tu enjoy one thing that everyone likes. Yeah, which is food. To me, food significance.
It brings everyone together, right? Like it just puts everything, argument to stop. You just feel like, okay, food is like the pause that we need.
Correct. In the end, all of us will just go lepak mama and be chill. I think everyone got so angry these days because all of them are so hungry. And when you go on Twitter, you see people gaduh pasal racist kan. I think it's because they haven't eaten that day. And so lepas tu bila habis that everything, tengok lepak kat mama, you know. So I think
even as lawyers pun we might fight in a different opponents in courts, right? But then we go just mama like, oh, how was your day? Like our relationship beyond surpasses whatever we work as a person or our political punya views ke apa kan. So that's a good interesting point. I think like for me personally, I agree that as a grown working adult, having adult money, this kind of it brings meaning of independence or Merdeka differently. Because I feel like Merdeka, okay, celebration is one thing, but we kind of have to deal with the ingrained unfair policies that that might affect our employment, our food security. So that is really where our macam mana, like we deal the spirit of Merdeka to the substantial, no longer on the surface value that we usually face back then. So we go surpass where, okay, are we actually independent Merdeka in this kind of situation? So these are the things as an adult you find rationalize, or whether we have to take action on certain things lah. So that is why I think like back in those days, we see it's just a celebration, we go out have fun, and then we just continue as a kid, right? But right now, as a grown adult, it kind of forces us to macam deal with things seriously, and perhaps to find on our own what is the meaning of Merdeka actually. Be it to our family, our work here, what we do. So I think that's a very significant point that we all have to work through lah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we can both agree that celebrating Merdeka as an adult and a kid is totally different. Very different. Especially I think in the younger generation sekarang ni, zaman sekarang ni, kita punya sense of belonging, like you said just now, kurang compared to the older generation. So we celebrate differently.
But bagi you cannot really blame younger people for not really understand Merdeka. For some people would feel like, oh, you have to go through the pain and hardship of fighting physically the penjajah, then you have to feel sense of belonging, right? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's why we're here today to talk about that. It's about some people think that understanding independence tu maksud dia kita kena really feel closely to when fighting,
work in the army,
ataupun macam betul-betul menghayati pengorbanan prajurit. But I think along the way kan, after generations and generations lepas tu, kita pun dah move on, dah evolve to like it's 2023. Okay, so dia macam tak tak macam tak significant sangat dah kan. So yeah, moving on, kita kena cari a better way on how to be a better Malaysian by celebrating Malaysia as it is. Sekarang ni in the latest context lah macam tu.
Betul. I feel like we both have to address the need for certain factors is like education, our unity government, and most importantly how we can ingrain in this, like we're adults but again we're young adults, right?
Yeah,
So we
correct.
kind of see the best of both worlds, like what we want for the better of the future in our younger generation, while not forgetting how colonialism has affected us before, how our history,
Yeah.
how do we reach as an independent state right now. So I think like the younger generation will feel like, oh, they can just go to parade, go for OTD, do TikToks, and that should be okay as long as they look in the trend, right? But
Yeah.
it's something that
As long as they do it, you know. At least
exactly,
as long
they just
as
show
ada.
up, betul
As long
tak?
as ada. Doesn't matter to me kalau you tak buat TikTok, but as long as ada, representation matters. No? Yeah. Yeah.
Representation is one thing, but in terms of soul,
Yeah,
feeling,
yeah. I think it comes later if like actions have to be in line dengan align dengan kita punya intention. So kalau you buat TikTok and then later on you rasa macam okay, it means something to me. Okay lah tu kan? No?
you know, like maybe
Yeah.
like the realization comes later, you know, oh, this is why they wear this kind of people, like, because some might say like, oh, you just stand under the hot sun for a few hours and then that's just it. That's not just it. I mean like the way how we show up for
Yeah.
independence like really shows how our bare minimum commitment like to our love for our country, our love, our the, like we remember the sacrifice of the VATs back then, the of the wars that our grandfathers has gone through lah kan.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright, so I think it's quite sentimental when it's about to see the differences between
Yeah.
generation kan? Okay.
Assalamualaikum. Saya Zainal. Saya daripada Ezra Law Firm Kelana Jaya. Okey, saya sini sebagai Head of Operational Technologies. Tugasan saya dekat sini adalah memantau ataupun untuk menguruskan segala infrastruktur IT lah, sistem dan berkaitanlah dengan teknologi. Jadi apa yang saya buat dekat sini adalah memberi support lah, support kepada lawyer-lawyer, kepada staff-staff berkenaan dengan teknologi lah bagi melancarkan pengurusan dan kerja mereka.
Okay, hi. Now we're back with Ainur and me.
Okay, so into our discussion again. Okay, so Zaim?
Okay, like so we're having a very informative and punya discussion, right?
Yeah.
So we've talked about Gen Z, we've talked about Merdeka, and some might say that
What it means
the
to
term,
us.
Merdeka
Yeah.
or Gen Z to us is very important. That's one thing. Even so that the Gen Z labeling like this whole years that we have boomer, millennials, right? So we've adopted that and we acknowledge that we are actually Gen Zs.
Yeah, Gen Zs.
Gen Z. So being in Malaysia,
Yeah.
experiencing as a Gen Z, do you believe that, do you have any issue like generational issue, any difference of opinion between as a Gen Z and also boomer,
Yeah,
millennials?
I think that's a debate.
Yeah.
There has
Let's
been a
talk about
debate for so many years. I think ever since I membesar lah daripada zaman sekolah sampai masuk EU, I think the peak one would be masa uni lah kot. So masa
Okay.
tu I have so many things to say. Tapi now that I'm working, I rasa macam let's just tone down. You know, macam maybe I kind of get what they're trying to say, you know. Tapi it has been a debate. It has been a debate sebab the older generation, diorang punya their life, you know, how they progress in life, and then their punya environment is so different than us. So I think we can come to an understanding lah kot kan, that the boomers, I think millennials lah, I wouldn't call boomers tu, maybe macam a little bit later lagi, but in fact the millennials themselves pun they practice hustle culture. To them, work hard and gain more. Tapi
True.
macam the younger generation sekarang ni, kita lagi aware and kita lagi self conscious lah. on many different aspects of life, especially when it comes to mental health, well-being, in terms of getting the work-life balance. I think itu generation gap yang sangat besar lah. And in fact, when you say Merdeka tadi, I don't think Merdeka is just independence and harmony among the race in Malaysia,
Yeah.
but it's also being independent in terms of thinking. Macam pemikiran kita tu, we have to be independent. Kita tak boleh macam too westernized ataupun macam too liberal juga. So we need to keep our culture to ourselves juga. And when I say culture, it's not just culture in terms of race, tapi culture in terms of environment kat sini. Because you see tempat lain, contoh kat America, they don't have, it's a debate to say they have a culture per se. But their working culture is different than us, definitely. And how they think is different. And so the younger generation, how the older generation would call us, perhaps some of us are liberals.
Yeah.
Okay. Liberals, we have different way of thinking.
Opposing views,
And I think that's what independence means to me juga. It means that you have different views. You are not being colonized by using the westernized way of thinking, ataupun kita terlalu ikut sangat ketimuran, ataupun kita terlalu ikut sangat budaya-budaya luar yang kita bawa masuk. So when it comes to working culture lah, I think closely because kita working adults, we just started working. So the nearest that we can take, for example, is working culture. Okay. So bila dah nak merdeka dah 66 tahun ni, I just realised that some things just don't change. And some things change significantly, and that's because the younger generation are more aware. Okay. So tapi in your opinion kan, what kind of difference do you see between the previous generation dengan younger generation when it comes to independence? Be it financial independence ke, be it the work culture ke? Yeah. What do you think? Like,
I think I want to echo a lot of things that you just mentioned. Because I feel like as a Gen Z, we are starting to make a wave now. Be it in finance, be it in working, be it in many other things where if you go on TikTok, you notice that there are a lot of contents that going that for your protect your mental health, where they would just put a resignation letter, okay, for hours, 2 weeks or whatnot, in the spirit of taking care of mental health. So I would like to relate this where there's a saying or there's this understanding that okay, back in those days, our older generation will have to work to make survival. So right now, what our generation are facing, survival is one thing, but we want to survive not only at the bare minimum, meaning that we're taking granted our health, our family, but what we are actually wants to do, we want to have this balance, just nice in the middle, that everything are in control, and most importantly, we want to break the cycle of whatever traumas that the old generation has been passing down to us, be it the family trauma, the debts that in terms of financial scale and the larger as a nation.
Faham?
So the wave that this Gen Z for me, I think is a good wave because we are trying to dismantling whatever that we had in the past. So in that sense, Gen Z is actually making a good wave, and it has to be, I would say, harmonized between the needs or understanding of the old generation and the new generation. That because I believe that some of us have been called like snowflakes, strawberry generation. We cannot put up to pressure. But what we are actually, we are willing to put up to pressure, but with our own terms, and we are willing to go beyond actually if we are being adequately funded, provided, right? So here I believe that independence is where thinking is one thing, but we are independent of making our own choices by knowing that what are the effects, be it our individual capacity in working and whatnot, right? So apart from that, I believe that independence should go a long way, and from a working perspective, we should as a Gen Z prioritize. But we do have to acknowledge the consequences of our own actions and what we should or should not be doing lah. So being a Gen Z, there's a lot of challenges, I believe.
A lot of challenges.
Before that, I think we can have a good break for a while.
Okay, sure.
Hi, my name is Nur Zulaika. I'm the head corporate communication in Azri Law Firm. So what I do basically is to oversee the firm's communication and public relation matter at a corporate level. Other than that, it's also to focus in terms of developing the internal and also external communication strategies for the firm. I will also have to ensure all the information are structured, well-mannered, and also consistent. Besides that, we also have to focus in terms of relaying the positive message and increase brand awareness for the firm.
Okay. Alright, so we're back talking about Gen Zs and Merdeka. And kita dah both agree, I think Merdeka to Gen Z is not always about learning about the history of Merdeka ataupun just understanding the pengorbanan of prajurit, which yes, we do appreciate that. But I think in the Gen Z punya context, I mean, I don't speak for all Gen Zs, but most of us would agree, I guess, that when it comes to the younger generation, and Merdeka, it means that independence tu dari segi financial independence, daripada segi pemikiran, dari segi kita punya how we choose to live, you know. In fact, Merdeka to us is more about unity, harmony among all of us, and it's not just races but also the generation. Okay, sebab kita terlalu macam mana, like we have so many stigma and also stereotypes when it comes to different generation. For example, like what you said just now, we're being called snowflakes lah, we are being called the strawberry generation lah, all those things to show that we are the weaker generation compared to the previous one. And I think nanti pun bila kita ada younger generation, we might do the same thing. Yeah, I think it's just a cycle of generation. But that's why Gen Zs are more self-conscious these days, self-aware, sebab we do not want to project the same kind of understanding ataupun stereotype lah to the younger generation. Okay, so I think now that we've talked about how we celebrated Merdeka, how we understand Merdeka from our perspective as Gen Z, I think it's fair to also share with our audiences, you know, with everyone, what kind of challenges that we have to go through as Gen Zs. And I think personally, challenges tu bukan dari segi contohnya nak sambut Merdeka itself, tapi I think towards finding independence towards, you know, understanding how Merdeka works between us the Malaysians kan. So challenges tu comes from there. So orang dulu-dulu diorang akan cakap, oh kenapalah budak-budak zaman sekarang ni buat TikTok lah, apalah, macam what is the significance? But to us that shows unity, because one video with so many views, so many different of audience, and your viewers will come from different backgrounds. Yeah, and TikTok is a very good platform actually to share information, how you feel, you know, and to spread the spirit of Merdeka lah kan. So you see different way, different method of celebrating Merdeka is viewed differently juga among generation. Okay, but the challenges would be how the younger generation are being viewed, and also how do we keep us united. Okay, Zain, I tak tahu dulu sekolah mana?
Sekolah agama dulu.
Sekolah agama. Okay, so I believe sekolah agama means majority Malay lah kan?
Malay.
Dominated Malay.
Yeah.
Okay, so macam I mentioned I dulu sekolah convent, and then I did my form 6 dekat high school. So I can see that I'm quite exposed to diverse culture lah.
Liberal in some sense.
Some sense, I guess. And then bila I masuk, I sambung belajar dekat UKM Bangi. So UKM Bangi is quite diverse also. We have the Chinese, we have the Indians and the Malays, but of course equally I mean equally lah kan, ramai, the amount of people tu equally lah juga. Okay, but then I just realised bila I masuk my university that there are some gap, because I also just found out recently yang some of my friends were not exposed to diverse culture, and that shocked me because I thought kita semua macam pergi sekolah kebangsaan kan, we're supposed to have Chinese and Indian friends, no? But it turns out there are people yang memang tak pernah pergi sekolah yang bercampur, like what you said kan, sekolah agama, but no offense.
It's okay.
I mean like maksud I macam sekolah macam tak diverse, tak ada, not enough not equal lah in terms of segregation tu. Yes, dia punya apa tu, kaum lah. So bila when it comes to bercampur between this race, it feels a bit awkward, and dia macam susah sikit nak harmony when you're not like minded tau. So bila I jumpa kawan-kawan yang macam ni, I terkejut lah. Turns out ramai yang from contoh MRSM ke, tak pun from SBP yang bukan campur Malay, Indian, Chinese. they find it hard to communicate ataupun to be in the same group with those who are from the different race lah maksudnya
Yeah.
kan. So to me, challenges sekarang as Gen Z is how do we actually unite everyone? I mean, do you have Twitter? I mean, okay, now we call it the X app, the new app, thanks Elon Musk. So do you have the X app?
Yeah, I
The
do,
Instagram?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it has been quite a debate kan. Okay, kita selalu debate pasal races dekat X app. And dekat X app tu lah where I see that macam okay, kita punya bubble ni memang different.
Yeah.
There are different bubbles. Satu bubble yang Malay, Chinese, Indian. And then there's another bubble yang macam we have to be united together, you know, all that kind. Pasal ada yang macam the kind of bubble yang macam apa-apa je lah, kenapa semua orang gaduh ni, we don't get it, we're just living
Living our
peacefully.
life, yeah.
Why are we even debating this in the first place? Yeah. So to me, challenges I rasa yang paling significant lah as Gen Z is how do I share my sentiment of being very close to my Indian and Chinese friend to tell those people out there yang tak bercampur tu that it's okay, it's fine.
True.
They're not trying to
Rob us
to
ke
rob
apa,
us. You know, because it's funny to me bila I duduk dengan my Indian and Chinese friend, all we talk about is our normal daily life. None of us actually plan to rob each other of our wealth or whatever, which I don't know if I even have any in the first place, no? So what do you think? What would be your challenges? But you datang pada sekolah yang tak diverse kan? So what would you say?
I think like I have to admit yang I've been very conservative daripada sekolah rendah lagi. I think sekolah rendah is the only place yang I went to sekolah kebangsaan. I think I still remember I still have 3 or 4 Chinese or Malay, Chinese or Indians punya friends. And then moving away to Negeri Sembilan, I masuk sekolah agama pula. And university, I masuk Universiti Islam Antarabangsa pula.
Oh, memang Islam.
So we do have diversity in UIA.
Yeah.
But again, it's more like an international community. So when I believe that I thought that bila masuk university, then there's the opportunity for you to cross culture whatnot. I do get it, but it's more like an international punya cross culture.
Oh yeah, I just realised UIA tak ada.
We do have non-Muslim, non-Malays in taking law.
But then I mean like in the Malaysian context, maksudnya macam foreigners je lah dekat UIA.
Most of the foreigners are in UIA lah.
Oh, I mean like kalau non-Malays tapi Malaysian.
Yeah,
tak lah.
they still can take courses in UIA, boleh je.
Oh, okay.
Through UPU and whatnot lah.
Oh,
okay je.
okay.
I do have friends yang like a Chinese taking law in UIA kan.
Oh, okay.
But again like even in my neighborhood pun like my neighborhood is all Muslim like macam Malay Muslim.
Malay dominated kat
So
situ.
they don't really the rest don't really go out. So I believe that the only way is doing working je lah.
Betul? Working.
So hence why I come to Penang and I don't have any culture shock masa awal dulu, but it's what I asked for, it's what I gotten. It is some of my non-Malay friends very close right now. So I really echo what because we have to admit like back in those days I believe that macam it's just a Malay issue. Tak ada kawan non-Malays. But again like in the Chinese or Indians or Sabahan or whatever tu, they do have this kind of, you don't have any other friends aside from other races. So it's not a Malay exclusive punya thing. So I believe that macam this unity issue plus macam dia further instigated by the social media, the political too. So some people are just being, how do I say, like being brainwashed, out of touch, their own bubble. They feel like everyone's not being a Muhammad or bin or binti. They feel like, they want to get you. They just feel like, no. I do have, even from a best student we expect things, but some people are just born like that. So in the social sense, I believe that there's a lot of work to do. But what we should put forward is that we should not make the online punya representation represent us in the ground. We do have factions. We do have certain people that represent, but I believe that the whole majority, bigger people out there, they just want to live in harmony. And most of people know that Malaysian has been very kind, very non-violence people. We can say that so far. So we can leverage that. And then like social sense, that's one thing. I think like
when you say social sense, how do you find it different dekat Negeri Sembilan and then when you come to Penang? Like kan people always cakap, oh Penang, you know.
Penang people are much more friendly, you know.
Yeah, okay, friendly,
So
yes.
Negeri Sembilan, maybe I'm not. I don't serve Penang. I don't serve Negeri Sembilan much.
Lagipun Negeri Sembilan is quite big kan compared to Penang.
Yeah.
So when you come to Penang, the island and the mainland, you basically meet
Yup.
everyone.
Yeah, and like
No?
it's very close
Yeah.
community where we just
Yeah.
feel like, oh, you know her, you know him, very close call kan. So social sense, if you want to learn about unity, you can come to Penang.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's a
That's a good tourism punya advertisement.
as a non-Penangite, as a one that has been 1 year plus in Penang, so that's one thing I really appreciate. And being a very open, not liberal in what sense, but the how open you want to embrace other people's views, ideology, way of eating. So it's very humbling and very thought-provoking for me lah.
Betul?
So that's one
Agree.
thing on the social side. But I think working, right, like most of us are trying to work and try to put forward our ideas. So our supervisors comes from millennials moments, right?
Yeah.
So either way, we have to make that first step to put forth our ideas.
Yeah, so
If
race
we-
apart is the generational thing juga for you. I see.
Like
Yeah.
they think that they know better because they've experienced it, but with technologies and whatnot, times change.
Yeah, we evolve.
We
correct.
evolve a lot.
Yeah, betul.
Decision has to make things.
As much as we need them, they need us too,
Yup.
right? Yeah.
Because they're not going to be here forever. We'll
No offense.
longer. We'll inshallah we're supposed to be longer here
Inshallah. I
kan.
mean, yes, correct.
So Gen Z in workplace has been very, if you go on TikTok, right, there's
Yeah.
very content like Gen Z is like doing this, like taking breaks, we're going for short holidays, but in the end their productivity increases.
Yeah.
So to a company you want to make profit. As long as the productivity is at par to what has been delivered, then why not?
Yeah, I think what what I can see from your perspective kan. So macam basically the challenge would be us bringing like we put forth our ideas to the old generation, the millennials, the boomers, which is our employers lah, I would say,
Yeah.
okay, the supervisors and whatnot, and the company evolving towards something macam the technology and whatnot. Benda tu benda baru, okay. So the Gen Zs would know better, I would say.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to working culture, when it comes to, you know, basically knowledge lah kan.
Yeah.
Knowledge tu we still rely on the older generation to educate us on that part. So I think we actually memerlukan each other.
Need each
So it's really hard to gain independence in terms of macam pemikiran, also financial independence, blah blah blah. Because to me kan, kalau Gen Z, if you are constantly being downgraded by the older generation, it's hard for you to move forward. Sebab whenever you have ideas, they dismiss it ataupun macam they feel like, oh, it doesn't matter, ataupun macam because they think they know better, ataupun when it comes to your ideas they feel like ni budak muda ni, this
They
is
don't
how
know
they
more.
think,
Yeah.
this is how they think, you know. So they find it inconvenient, so they don't want to try. Okay, but then not all. So I think
Because I think like some employers might just afraid because their status quo would be disturbed. That's one thing. So the clashes happen when we have a very overachieving, thriving, very high spirited punya Gen Z that wants the best for the company or for themselves. So they believe that, because I have to admit, Gen Z not always right.
betul.
We tend to bulldoze things, you know.
We think we know.
We think we know.
Sometimes we think
We
we
don't
know.
know,
Yeah,
actually.
but we don't know.
But we do
That's
need each
right.
other. Like
Yeah,
you say,
betul. That's why it's more towards reliance and also compromising each other. Sebab they have to macam they have to understand that you need the younger generation to make things evolve ikut keadaan semasa, but at the same time you also need the old generation to help you move forward. Okay, what do you think about, okay, tadi sebab kita cakap pasal social context and then we talk about working context kan. I think we also should talk about other context. For example, sebab kita kan nak cakap pasal Merdeka and Gen Z. Other than social, other than working, perhaps we can talk about the economy a little bit, touch a little bit about that. Sebab you see, has been a debate for many years I think already. Dah lama dah orang cakap pasal benda ni, contoh pasal bumi rights lah, pasal Mandarin speakers only lah, pasal landlords not wanting different race lah, apalah. Okay, and then of course the debate would be these are the rights of specific individuals or specific group of people kan. So of course kita tak nak take away those things. Because when you have the privilege, of course you wouldn't want to macam,
Lose of it.
yeah, you don't want to lose it, you know. But why lose when you can share? Okay, so macam I cakap tadi, I have Chinese and Indian friends kan. Sometimes we do talk about this and it's so weird coming from me as a Malay who actually benefit from all those privilege kan. Okay. So I think to me, my opinion, it's not about losing privilege, it's more about sharing the privilege. And of course to certain people, to most people lah in the Malaysian context, dia orang cakap sharing means losing lah. Sebab kalau you share, you lose a portion of yourself. Betul tak? So of course they don't want to share because sharing also means losing. But to me, I don't know, maybe because I myself is in the younger generation, perhaps I don't see the struggle that old generation have to face. So perhaps that's why political punya political punya understanding, will and whatnot, have different views juga. Kalau you tengok kat Twitter, X app, sorry, I think the younger generation have different views on political juga. When it comes to economy, diorang akan macam, why not share? Tapi older generation, we don't share, you know, because you have your privilege, use it. And that privilege is beneficial for your younger generation. Maksudnya kita sekarang ni, anak-anak kita nanti akan benefit juga benda tu. So tak payah nak macam baik sangat lah macam tu.
But again, like for me lah, I feel like some might true. Maybe there's a historical context why how do we get here. Some areas like maybe housing ke, education, whatnot, right? But again, like I said in the previously, awal dulu tu, awal tadi, like for me, I would like to be considered as a Malaysian first, rather than as a Malay first. So I'm not in a position of privilege in terms of understanding of how things actually work, but I do admit that I'm a privileged person due to my race and whatnot. But again, the bigger context that we should be considering is that, okay, we have acknowledged our need and our friends, the one that actually live beside us is actually struggling, and they're not benefited from the same system like we did. So I'm not sure what is the deepened fear that have been put or ingrained in certain people or even families ke whatnot, why we would not rather, I would not say abolish 100%, but try to equalize or make a policies in terms of profit sharing or equity sharing ke apa kan, because everyone contributed their portion to this lovely nation, and that is why we Merdeka even back then pun is not only by the Malays but also by other races juga. So we have to acknowledge that these people plays important part in how do we get there then and here also. So the realization, the bigger thought is, okay, we've been Merdeka for 66 years. So we should make things better and make things better for us.
But some things don't change.
Some things just don't because they don't want to.
Some things don't change. Yeah, don't want to or because we cannot.
We cannot
change. Yeah, but I think in conclusion lah kan, to our challenges as Gen Z ni, I rasa in fact when I don't know, maybe millennials or boomers yang dengar kita cakap macam ni, dia akan cakap, what challenge? Apa hardship yang you guys go through? Betul tak? Okay,
tak kena bangun pagi pun.
Bangunlah. I want pergi pergi kerja. I mean like the challenge to me, like to summarize lah, my I think to speak for other Gen Zs juga, the biggest challenge would be making the boomers ataupun millennials ataupun young older generation lah. I wouldn't call them labels. Labels. But then I think the older generation should understand one thing, that when the Gen Zs are self-aware and more self-conscious about rights, about sharing, about uniting, harmony, it's not about you giving away your rights tau. It's not about you losing your rights, but you just wanted to share, as you said, by equity. Okay, it doesn't have to be equal, but it have to be given adequately. And you see, in fact, kita merdeka pun dah 66 tahun, and I can tell from my own personal experience, there are some people who live in the Borneo punya states pun rasa macam we have gap
between the Semenanjung
and the ni kan. So what the younger generations are trying to strive for is to apa tu,
consolidate, to merge, to everyone enjoy a piece of the cake lah.
Yes, correct. Yeah, macam
cake.
macam kita rapatkan jurang tu. So how do you do that? By telling people that you can share. You know, kalau you tak boleh share tapi you nak kawan dengan orang, you rasa orang nak kawan kita, macam tu kan. So coming from someone who who have been raised and being friends with people from different races for many years, and not just like acquaintance ke apa, tapi they are my best friends, you know. These are my close friends who I closely live, study and also macam duduk sama-sama.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that the younger generation ni, the biggest challenge is to make the older generation understand that we're not trying to lose all the privileges that they orang tolong kutip untuk kita,
Yeah.
and then we give away. Tak, we are just trying to share to make things better for everyone. And we do appreciate what they've done for the
We
country.
do. I feel like
Yes.
if we didn't
Yeah.
really appreciate, then all of the losers, all of the privileges would be stripped off right away.
Yeah.
So I would like to add like macam some after listening this might call us naive for not knowing the Asam Garam, for not knowing a lot of things.
Of course, the snowflake generations.
But regardless,
not
our
knowing anything.
point still stands.
Yeah.
We want to make the Malaysia a better place, a better opportunity to be adopted or to be taken by all races
Yes,
as
correct.
Malaysians first.
Yes.
So in that sense, we should strive forward.
Towards that lah.
Towards that
Betul? I agree. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
I think we had a very heavy discussion.
yeah.
We'll take 5 for a while.
Yeah, we should take 5. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Okay, saya Puan Madiani binti Abdul Mana dari Finance Department Ezri Law Firm. Di Ezri Law Firm, jabatan kewangan kita terbagi pada 2, iaitu di Client's Account dan juga Office Account. Okay, di SG Law Firm, kita mempunyai SOP tersendiri yang mana dia merupakan satu rujukan dan panduan dalam kita melakukan kerja-kerja harian. SOP ni penting kerana dia akan menjadikan kerja-kerja kita lebih lancar dan efisien.
Okay.
Okay guys, hi, we're back and we're at the end of our podcast actually.
Aww.
I think we talk a lot.
I think we still have a lot to
We
say.
still have a lot to say, but we'll be on the next one, don't worry.
Yeah.
So to wrap up things, right? So we talk
Okay.
about Gen Z, we talk about Malaysia, we talk about Merdeka, we talk about food,
Yeah.
social
food.
security, whatnot, right? So to wrap up things, I believe that in the spirit of Merdeka, right? I know.
Yeah.
Let's do like a to-do list.
Okay.
What we're going to do 3
Yeah.
to 4 days up until Merdeka.
Okay.
How about you?
Okay, as a Penangan myself, I know that the celebration wouldn't be as the scale would be a lot smaller lah compared to KL kan. But I already have a few things in mind actually. Sebab Merdeka is on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
Thursday.
Oh, sorry, it's on Thursday,
Thursday.
31st of August.
August.
Yeah, okay. I plan to pergi awal pagi, bangun very early in the morning, pergi makan mamak kalau mamak tu buka. And then I nak pergi Penang, pergi tengoklah air show, because I believe that nanti kita boleh tengok juga kan live dekat TV,
Yeah.
as well as pergi tengok parade dekat Penang. And then I don't know if you know, tapi dekat Penang we have like macam celebration kat Padang Kota tu malam.
Oh,
So I think we can go and enjoy there juga. And another thing for Merdeka, I think this year I want to dress up and post speech, not a speech, like macam just some
We'll see.
sharing dekat my Instagram with my followers.
At
Okay, when I say followers, I'm not like famous and stuff, but just my friends. And perhaps just yeah, I think that will be my to-do list quote for Merdeka. Yeah, because I tak really nak travel out pun. It will be jam. No?
Yeah,
Working
agree,
stuff.
agree.
Working adults. What do you have in mind, Zaim?
Okay, I have things in mind.
Yeah.
And
What's that?
hopefully I'm not a Gen Z that procrastinate my stuff lah.
Jangan pergi rempit tau.
Oh wow. Okay, so like Merdeka night I'm going to hop on a bus back to Nilai. That's going to be like more than 66 kilometers and above.
Kenapa naik bus bukan naik kereta?
I hate jam.
I see.
So I just let the driver je
okay,
kan. I just
correct.
want to see.
Okay.
Second thing would be hopefully I can clock in my 6.6 kilometer punya run. So in commemoration lah the
Run.
66 years of Merdeka. That's two
Yeah.
things. So on Merdeka Day, I'm going to wish at least 6 people my hopes and wishes for
Okay.
Merdeka.
That's
So I
nice.
believe that it's a good way to engage and have their thoughts on Merdeka, because some of my friends don't even celebrate Merdeka because it feels like it's a pointless. They don't feel Malaysian anymore. I was like, you were born in Parit Buntak, way. Okay. So I believe like that's all, but if
Yeah.
there's more to come, then why not?
Okay, I think that's a good idea juga pergi running tu. I think I might go on a hike. Sebab usually when it comes to Merdeka, I think my mum always go for a hike.
Yeah.
So I think I can join her. Yeah, hiking lepas tu kita sambut Merdeka ke atas. Sounds fine. Yeah. So I think to just wrap things up again.
Yeah, again. For the
Okay,
millionth
to conclude-
times.
For the millionth time of wrapping things up. I just hope that to all Malaysians, be a better Malaysian. Try your best to unite and be united. Take the opportunity to make friends other than those who are already in your circle.
Yeah.
Okay, try new things. Sebab I think 2023 means, just be brave and try
Don't
a lot
die.
of new things. Yeah, don't die.
And I feel
Yeah.
like it's a loss as a Malaysian if you
Yes.
don't experience this cross culture
Yeah,
wherever you
correct.
are.
Yeah.
Just go and grab it.
Yeah, if you have the time, go watch the Merdeka Parade live.
Yeah.
Because I never had the chance. I think I might maybe
Okay.
really try this year.
So I think that's all.
Alright, so
We
thank
can
you
end here.
for your time listening to us.
So we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Take care. Selamat Merdeka.